What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36. Victory Monday. Love it, man. You ever just like every team that you were associated with just won? Anybody else feel like that? Anybody ever had that feeling? No? Just me? Okay. All right, cool. I guess maybe it's just me. But shout out to the Mandarin Mustangs. Shout out to Florida State Seminoles. Shout out to UCAA 10U Soldiers. Shout out to even the Jaguars. And again, I have to always make sure I tell people this. Like, I am not a Jaguar fan. I cover the Jaguars. It's a difference. I like when they win. It makes my job easier and my life easier. But I'm not necessarily a Jaguars fan. So, but I do like the players. I get a chance to interact with a lot of them. But in general, this weekend, whether your team won, whether your team lost, was a phenomenal weekend in terms of sports. Like everything just went so well. It's just been so exciting, man. Like the last few weekends, just a lot of energy, a lot of like competitiveness. One thing about the NFL, I'm gonna tell you this: no lead is safe. No lead is safe. It almost made me want to do. Like I was trying to go through the information of what I wanted to talk about today, and so I don't have I could easily have a 3-hour show. Easily have a 3-hour show this week. And it still missed stuff. That's how much went down between just the NFL and college. And I don't even know what else happened in the world. I really don't. Like, I think the funeral for the Queen is supposed to be like in a few days or something like that. And I think there was a movie that came out about a black woman king, or some other shit came out and stuff happened. I'm a comic book nerd, and like they're supposed to be doing Marvel announcements and things, but I don't know because football is king. But I just want to we're gonna do some pre-show. I'm going to use my platform in the beginning. So we're gonna talk Jags. So my Jag fans, we're gonna talk about you first. Florida State fans, stick there. Miami fans, you're going to get involved too. And Florida fans, we're going to talk about all of you guys. But there's some things that I just love to kick off because I love success. I love my guys that I coach at, and it is my show. So starting off, if you could pull up some of that, I want y'all to see how explosive we are. Mandarin had a rivalry game. Atlantic Coast, and I actually coached at Atlantic Coast. That one we do need that eventually, Miles. I coached at Atlantic Coast. Atlantic Coast, I could throw a rock at the door. But I coach at Mandarin High School now. Mandarin High School hasn't beat Atlantic Coast since I was part of the first coaching staff at Atlantic Coast that beat Mandarin. So like I'm the secret sauce. We should have won last year. Unfortunately, my running back who was no longer at the school fumbled. He's not at the school. It didn't work out that way. He ended up transferring. He's a safety at another school, but like I didn't kill him because he fumbled. He was young. He just never saw the ball again after he fumbled it because I couldn't trust him. But that happened. But I got some cats, man. And I had a running back that was really, really good. He transferred to another school. Probably should have stayed, but that's him and his family's best decision. And everybody said that I wasn't gonna have no running backs. But boy, are they wrong. You got any of the videos up, Miles? Yeah, this all the whole. I sent you an email with the links and stuff like that. But while I was figuring that out, I got that. We talked about should have went to you. Should be just one. You didn't get it.
That's what I was wondering. I was thinking, like, did he text it to me? I got that one text he sent. But
hold on, man. Yeah, I thought I sent that to you. Hold on, that's not a good way to start the show. I'll try this again. Here, my bad, people. Y'all gonna have to do this bad podcasting, bad radio. But anyways, so while we getting that up, because I want to show, I want my guys to get their few minutes of fame, because I got a lot of clips, and I couldn't even tell you to go on my Twitter page because Friday is like a whole. That Friday might as well have been 3 weeks away. All right, so I just sent it again. Try to check that, but anyways, Hold on.
Got it.
Yeah. So while we get that stuff going, sorry about that. I try to get more organized than I used to be on the radio, but it's still getting there. That's not. It's like the first link um, that um that I sent you. And those are a couple pictures to make it easier. But anyways, we hit on for 30 points. We won 30-0. My 5-star Jamie French, he scored a touchdown. My running backs ran. Tion Weiss had 10 carries. I believe he went for a buck 40, 2 touchdowns. And then my other guy, Westcott, um, he did his thing too. He's getting there close. This is Tion right here. So I want people to see this explosiveness because this kid right here is going to be somewhere. And this is my spotlight for my guys, a high school spotlight in Jacksonville, Mandarin Mustang. Put it all on my social media. But it's pretty solid kid. I got 75 yards to the house right here. And Rado, our athletic director, is there. Dap him up right there in the end zone. Works out. But then I got another clip. I think it's the clip before that. The link before that will be is Jamie, I believe. Like you going below. Oh no, that might be it. No, that might be it. No, that's Genoa. You can go ahead and show that. Genoa's like a nephew too. So we're gonna show Genoa. Genoa's mom worked for me. He just got an offer for FAMU. Yeah, congratulations to local kids. Love this kind of stuff.
Are they all seniors?
Nah, there's Tion's a junior. Genoa's a sophomore. So he's balling at University Christian. I first met him when he was like Trey's age. So it feels good to see him doing his thing. So go and show that right there. Boom. Catch a quick little thing. Skating. Separate. That's what you want to see with that. And then Jamie is literally the first link, I think, like on that. Yeah.
Are these all
No, my bad. We need that. But yeah, but it's like so far down on my page. Man, that's not it either.
You got a lot.
Sorry about this, guys. All right, here you go. That's Jamie. Just kind of cool. Again, it's just one of those experiences, man. I played college ball, had a chance to get some coffee and beignets in the pros. Actually sat there and talked to Jamie's mom about, Florida State and getting over there the other day. But this kid right here, just boom, catch it, stretch it. It's just not fair. It's like child's play. The young man is talented, extremely talented. And I've done this so many times that I hope that I'm starting to enjoy being a father with it, right? So one of the coolest things about being a father and being so close. So like the head coach of Mandarin is my son's godfather, and Becky, his wife, my son's godmother, does a lot of documenting. And then what happens is we have a close knit coaching family. So Trey is now being coached on this Pop Warner team by basically like another godfather, by his uncle Cole. Me and Cole started coaching together at Ponte Vedra, same time I met Toby, and that's one of Toby's good friends. But we've grown to be good friends. All of our kids are around the same age. We've got Maddox, and that's the picture one. So it's a cool thing. We have this picture of Trey. I think we were doing white people shit, either Christmas lights or no. This is when me and Cole coached at Wolfson. The 1 year I coached at a really, really sorry team with Toby's first head coaching stint. Yes, they were sorry. But this is them when they're, I believe, like 2 or 3 years old. And then now they're teammates. So in the UCAA Christians, they beat their team 39-0. That was what happened with that. So going now from that into the NFL. And I think this is the last link on there, Miles. Like, it's tough, man. Divorce isn't fun. Divorce is not fun. I have a friend, a teammate of mine, Cam Wembley, who went through it. And I think that's when he lost his mind. I'm not blaming his wife, but that's just when he lost his mind. But that's not the one. It's just, God, dog, it's so much stuff. Tom Brady, man, we got to keep Tom Brady uplifted and in your prayers. My guy's going through it. Um, and he was always real thin. And being vegan, I need to get vegan. But it's just I'm just looking at this video of him walking, and you just push that one up, Miles, because that's I'm going to that next. But like everybody, I remember hearing the rumors when I was down in Tampa speaking at this Seminole club, and people were saying this guy said, "Well, I heard that Tom Brady's the real reason why he missed all of training camp is because he's going through a divorce." And I'm like, man, that's so salacious and so irresponsible journalism. And then I looked at the pictures and I'm like, whoa, that's divorce law. That's it happens to men and women, but that's that woman lose all that weight. You know how they be fat or sometimes, and then they lose weight and they call it the snapback. When there's like a lot of times that they'd have just lost that weight while they were married, they wouldn't have had it, but they didn't have the motivation. But Tom Brady looks like the woman who needed the motivation, but he's real thin. And he's probably going to die playing football, but these people hate their families, man. Like when you think about it, he's like, he stayed home for like 2 weeks and then she started annoying him. He said, up, time to go back to football. But Tom Brady is still trying to figure this out. He has basically said, like, you get Tuesdays off. So basically, Mondays is like a walkthrough. You come in and rehab day, unless you play Monday Night Football. Tuesday is the mandatory day off in the league. Everybody gets Tuesday off. Well, now Tom Brady is getting Wednesdays off. This man is so stressed. This wife is on his ass so much that he's got to get this. And we'll talk more about Tom Brady a little bit later, but just keep Thomas Brady in your prayers, people. He's wilding out. Now, again, no lead is safe in the NFL, and nobody has probably gotten more ridicule as a quarterback from me than Pineapple Boy. Pineapple Boy is Tua, but Tua had a legendary game yesterday, like all pro numbers. Like it was stupid. And I was clowning. I was clowning him at first. And Lamar Jackson was balling, played like the best player in the NFL, played like a guy who needs to be guaranteed his contract, all the money. But then Tua comes along and literally, I think he scored 6 touchdowns in one game. It was amazing with the numbers that he put up. And it wasn't just the Ty Hill. You got Jalen Waddle involved. It was a lot of weapons, a lot of good things going on. Very exciting. If you haven't liked the brand of football that you've seen so far this year, I don't know what to tell you. Really, really good. And if you're a Jaguars fan, nothing better than what you saw yesterday. It was a solid ass whipping through and through, thorough. And Miles, with these links, you could just kind of pick and choose where you want to put them up or how long you want them to be like this. But the Jags won 24-0. And I'm going to speak on a little bit, but if you want to get more in-depth analysis, go check out our YouTube, check out our SoundCloud or iTunes or Google Play or Spotify. I've given a breakdown of both the Jags and the FSU's games. But the Jaguars have pitched 3 shutouts in recent history. All 3 have come at the hands of the Colts. The Jaguars at home versus the Colts is a can't miss. The last time the Colts beat the Jaguars in Jacksonville, the current quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, was in 2014. He was considered the number 1 quarterback in the nation coming out of high school. That was the last time that this happened. The boy hadn't even seen his first pair of titties at that point. And it's one of those things. Last year in Indianapolis, they came out, whooped ass. Literally, it's freaky, right? Because my friend Sam, who has some of the worst takes in football, actually had one of the best takes that I've actually heard from him in quite some time. He made a statement because everybody's been raving about Trevor Lawrence. He said, Trevor Lawrence had the same exact game as last year. And my first instinct was to tell him no. But I'm like, I'm a man of not just means, but I'm a man of like, I want to have intelligent discourse. So I went and I Googled. Well, let's look at what his stats were this year. He was 25 for 30, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. James Robinson had 23 carries, 64 yards, 1 touchdown. And here's where it gets even crazier, right? Christian Kirk, six catches, 78 yards. Evan Ingram, seven catches, 46 yards. Marvin Jones Jr., 3 catches. Travis Etienne, 3 catches. Crazy Zay Jones, 3 catches. All right. So I hope you guys caught that. The last game of last season, when the Jaguars stopped the Indianapolis Colts from going to the playoffs, Trevor Lawrence was 23 of 32 for 223 yards. And you know how many touchdowns? Dose. Marvin Jones Jr., 7 catches. Laviska Shenault, 5. I don't even want to pronounce that dude's name. Agabonyo, whatever. 3 catches. Treadwell, 3 catches. Hollister, 3 catches. That is freaky how similar those games were. Maybe it made me even think about what I talked about on First Coast on Sports Final on First Coast News last night. Maybe it wasn't that Trevor Lawrence played a good game. It's just Trevor Lawrence hates the Indianapolis Colts. And he's going to get that. They're going to get in that ass. It is a little bit of a rivalry, but the Jags went out and just won. News, first time since 2011. 3 of the worst franchises in the NFL in the past decade all won games on the same damn day. This is it's just, again, it's why you have to love this sport. The Jets, the Lions, and the Jaguars. Looking at rookies. The Lions beat their ass so bad that Aiden Hutchinson, who everybody hates, got 3 sacks in one game. So nobody's talking. It's the quietest 3 sacks that anybody's talked about. But going back to the Jazz Colts, you have guys who've ridden off. I was about to say James Allen, Josh Allen. He had 2 sacks. One of them was a strip sack. More pressures. Devin Lloyd, who was my favorite draft pick that the Jags had, got his first interception, sideline to sideline. What needs to be said about this Jags team and what should give fans hope, right, is the fact that all your young players made plays. Your Devin Lloyds, your Trayvon Walkers, he didn't get in the stat column, but he definitely made his presence felt. Josh Allen is still a relatively young player. Cisco is a young player. He got that. And then guys that you needed to have good, like I don't know his first name, but I like to call him Cookie Head Jenkins. He did. Oh, is it Jay Wayne? No, Jay Wayne Jenkins is that's Young Jeezy. Anyways, Cookie Head Jenkins got an interception. Devin Lloyd got an interception. Andre Cisco, a lot of banging, a lot of this. The corners were not taken advantage of and molested like they were in week 1, and a lot of good stuff just happened. And you have to be happy for that as a Jag fan, and you got to take the wins because, as I always love to say, if wins were easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would be undefeated, and victories on Mondays are a lot more palatable than they are. And now next week you're going to the West Coast. You're playing a very talented. I always want to say San Diego, but they're not in San Diego anymore. LA Chargers team. With a young defense, Derwin James, Asante Samuels, a plethora of other players that are over there on that defense that is kind of coming together. That plays pretty tough. Offensively, they've got 2 wide receivers that are really, really good. And they've got a running back that's pretty decent as well. But the one downside for them that kind of helps the Jags, especially if they can make it a defensive matchup, that Trevor Lawrence plays like he played this way, distributing the ball, not turning it over, being very accurate. You're going to be able to put pressure on Justin Herbert, who got banged up pretty good this past Thursday. Now, I made this statement, and I stand to it, and I hold to it. If you want to win and you want to be victorious consistently, try not to make Trevor Lawrence into Joe Montana too fast. I think people get super excited about the Jags and they, or super excited about talented players and you want to anoint them too quick. Take the Blake Bortles approach. Give them a governor. Keep them under 35 passes per game. I promise you, if you do that, you'll see more success. You'll win the time of possession battles. You'll have a lot of other things that are going to go work in your favor if you're able to continuously do that. If not, and you go out here and you try to make it about proving people right or wrong with Trevor Lawrence, then you're going to find yourself in a bad situation. So exciting as the NFL was, the game. If you didn't watch the Dolphins versus the Dolphins versus the Ravens game, you missed out. If you didn't watch the Raiders versus the Cardinals game, you missed out. If you didn't watch the Jags, so many really really good football games that have happened. To only be topped by what we saw on Friday and Saturday, in particular Saturday, like this was the wildest week in college football. But we're gonna start going and start what happened and what broke late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. One of my favorite football coaches, when he was with the Jets and everywhere that he's been, Mister, you play to win the game. Herm Edwards is fired. He's been ousted at Arizona State. I've been saying since forever that watch Mike Norvell to there. I hope it doesn't go. I hope this season right here is more encouraging, makes him want to stay here. Less pressure at Arizona State. They want to win, but Arizona State and head football coach Herm Edwards are parting ways. Sources tell Pete Thamel. First reported by 247 Sports. I hope that they've got some kind of good replacement or good thing. Herm Edwards is one of those honorable guys that will finish out the season for you. I think sometimes coaches, there are some coaches that fire and don't want to be there, but sometimes you just gotta be like, hey, we're gonna part ways at the end of the season, like what Coach O did. Well, I think what Coach O did was extremely honorable, and I think a lot of guys should do that. You should do your job until it's no longer your job. Can you post this interesting graphic right now? If you would have told me this, 5 years ago, I would have believed some of this. But there's only so many remaining teams in college football that the picture didn't go through. Nah, don't worry about it. Just you can go into. I'll speak on this while you load up that other video. Tulane, Clemson, Florida State, Syracuse, NC State, Wake Forest, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky. I'm going to read those back to you. Wake Forest, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, Indiana University, Penn State, Michigan. That can't be right. Is that Maryland? Wow. Ohio State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Southern Cal, Oregon State, UCLA, Washington State, Georgia, University of Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Charlotte, and James Madison University all have one thing in common. They are the remaining undefeated college football teams. And it is crazy. It's crazy that we're this far. Now, some of these teams, including Florida State, but Florida State has actually played teams with pulses. But Wake Forest, NC State have literally almost lost to the Sisters of the Poor. One team that knocked off a team that everybody was saying was so great in Texas A&M is App State. And this is how crazy college football is, man. College football is one of those situations you just had the video up. It's one of those situations where you can see a team go in and upset somebody, and it makes absolutely no sense that they did it. And then in the next week be in a dogfight. So App State literally goes into Texas A&M College Station, beats them. You would think like that momentum would transfer over, and a lot of the rest of their season, like they're going to lose to somebody, but the rest of their season should be relatively easy. But no, that's not college football. That's not what makes this great. And it stinks to be on this side of the loss. But man, it feels good to be on that side of the victory. And just what you're watching right now, if you're seeing on the YouTube, is a Hail Mary pass. They're on their 45. The guy scrambles around and launches a bomb. And the ball is about to be, this is why you bat the ball down and go for the interception. It is tipped to number 13, and he catches it and waltzes into the end zone unscathed. Again, just let that run back one more time. Hail Mary preparation. You do not want to bat the ball up. You don't want to tip the ball. And a lot of times the tip ball is when you go for the interception. Stop going for your stats and go for the good play. and you won't have this happen. I feel bad for Troy. Troy University put themselves in a position to win the game, but this is why you have to play until the clock has 3 zeros. And it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Now, going into the weekend that was a great weekend of sports for me, order is restored. Florida State is now back on top. They are the best football team in the state of Florida right now. And it all started with a very, very good game against a very, very good Louisville Cardinals team. But this is what I want to start off by saying, and this is by at They Hold Me, THEYHOEDME. And he says, LOL, people swear football game is just black and white, scoring drives galore. You got to know how to win these kind of gritty games as well. This is still football. One of the things that's getting pretty annoying, in particular with Florida State fans, is the manner in which you talk about coaches and the inconsistencies in which happen. All I saw was this defense sucks. This defense can't do this. This defense can't do that. This defense can't do that. Fire Fuller, undisciplined, this, without putting in context that you went into it without your best D tackle, Fabian Lovett, who was hurt. You lost Jared Verse very early. You had a lot of issues, and you're playing Malik Cunningham, who will finish as the second all-time leader in yards gained in Louisville history. You know who he's going to finish second to? Lamar Jackson, a Heisman Trophy winner and a league MVP. He's finishing second to the greatest of all time at their school. So stall him out and realize that it's an ebbs and flows game. And when it mattered, you know what the defense did? They stopped each other. And one thing I think a lot of you guys need to realize, because you're getting your information from pencil necks who have never picked up a fucking football, probably don't even throw the football to their kids. The game is complementary. Sometimes the defense just needs to know the offense got their back. And what happened? In the face of adversity, raised a young man who I am going to go on record again and say, I apologize. I am sorry, Tate Martell. Not Tate Martell, excuse me. Tate Rodemaker. I apologize. I still think you're going to be a hell of an insurance salesman, son. But you don't need to do that right now. You can throw the football. I said some things about you over the past few years that I've got to eat crow. I'm putting pepper sauce on my crow and I'm eating it, son. You have made a play that should go down in Florida, plays that should go down in Florida State history that I didn't think you could make. You won a game that mattered. Now, the other dude with one leg, I don't like him talking because he's never won a game that mattered. He never made a play that's iconic. But you, Tate Rodemaker, the guy who saw parlay, you, sir, I applaud you, son. This kid let his nuts drop, and I made a statement, and I completely believe this. And I think if we do it again against Boston College, we need to up the ante. This man deserved to have 2 sets of titties right in his face. Because what he did was show that his dick has got to be 18 inches. He wore his number 18 because his dick is 18 inches. This kid comes in, and I said this. I didn't even think he had pure intentions for Florida State. That's how bad the play was. Threw an interception. Defense makes a stop. He throws a fucking interception. I'm mad. I was upset. I was hurt. But then he comes out, and I'm thinking here we go again with Tate and this bullshit. But Tate rolls out of the pocket, throws the ball while getting blasted to 6'7" Johnny Wilson, who caught it and stretched it. Miles, if you can go find the video too, because this is the video. I text messaged it to you. The video with Johnny Wilson. But nah, this is a good picture right here. This is basically what Tate did. Tate, that Snoop Dogg when he beat the murder charges, J.J. Constantino goes down in the history of Florida State as the worst quarterback ever. J.J. Constantino was so bad at quarterback that Sean McGuire broke his ankle in the Peach Bowl. And they brought him in. He played so bad that Jimbo put the injured guy with the broken ankle back in. That's how much better he was. But Tate Rodemaker, and this is, again, it was a tale of two Tates. Tate went out there, and sometimes when you're going through the storm, I tell people this all the time, when I'm going through a bad day, I just need somebody to like make me feel good about myself.
Rodemaker.
Like something soothing, like I call my mom. My mom is a stabilizer, right? My mom is like, hey baby, it's gonna be okay. But like they talk about like when you're in when you're driving a boat and you're in a hurricane, you got to look out into there. And they have like these little markers. You look at the markers, right? And then the markers will help stabilize you. You won't have to, like, you can see that, and that's what you keep looking at. You find a space off in the distance. In the safe space for Tate Rodemaker, do you know who he was? There was a familiar, friendly face over there for Tate. You can play.
All outs. Rodemaker with time, and he's one deep. Has a man, and it's caught. Johnny Wilson.
And there he is right there.
Wilson down the far sideline. It'll be first down and goal for Florida.
Thank God for Javaris Brownlee. Right here. Look at that. Roll that beam footage. Boom. Beat right there. Oh, that's so sexy how he got beat.
Get the ball to this.
And then right here. Yep, right there. Boom. Yep, just give it to him. Oh, this one's the perfect. 6'7" guys can dunk. What better thing to do than dunk on Javaris Brownlee? We appreciate you for your service. Javaris Brownlee said he had this game circled on his calendar, and Tate Rodemaker looked over there and he did what we call on offense, circle the duck. He had it circled on his calendar, and we circled that goddamn duck. When Tate saw Javaris Brownlee out there, he said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And if Javaris Brownlee is guarding that guy. So, like, he went there, and it was amazing. I loved every second of it. I'm glad Javaris, you get the defensive game, you get the offensive game ball for your service and what you did for us, because without you, we wouldn't have been in this position. Matter of fact, I'd argue that if they had Greedy Vance, who transferred from Louisville to Florida State, Louisville probably wins that game. But the ironic thing about this is you had Greedy Vance, Jared Jackson, and Jordan Travis, all three players formerly Louisville Cardinals. I think Florida State got the best part of that. It's unfortunate that a young man, and what's crazy is this, a year to the date now, so almost a year to the date that Javaris Brownlee went famous for going viral for being on Mr. Go 30 for giving up the big play against Jacksonville State. And then what does he do? He gets put on Mr. Go 30 again for being dunked on. He is the first person in Mr. Go 30 history to be a video on same person on the video from two different teams. Now, one of the things that happens with all of this is that sometimes you get a little bit of hype. The world gets too involved with you. You are 3-0 for the first time since 2015. But is Florida State ranked? Nope. Not at all. Everybody else is ranked except for Florida State. But to give Florida State fans an opportunity to be a little bit too arrogant, the last time FSU's ground game got off the way, because this is what's really saving Florida State right now. She got a three-headed monster. Trayshawn Ward is doing his damn thing. Trey Benson is figuring it out. But that David Hell joint is the one that I want. And oh man, I can't think of the other kid's name. Number 9 is coming to me. Anyways, it'll come to me. Lawrence Toafili are doing a damn good job of running the ball. But here's what I want people to realize. The last time Florida State's ground game has had over 700 yards in the first 3 games was in 2013. Now, since then, 2014, 390. 2015, 682. 2016, 511. 2017, 326. 2018, 338, 2019, 448, 2020, 523, 2021, 524. Tougher opponents, but you just had two really, really good ones. Louisville and LSU, but you still, and then now granted that Duquesne game, you popped the top off of that. You got 8 touchdowns. You're putting a lot of damage on the ground. People are going to have to account for these guys. And Trey Benson had a run in that game where that big motherfucker can move. He's a lot of man to tackle. Trayshawn Ward does not give you the home run threat that a lot of people want, but he's a really, really good running back. Reminds me of James Robinson. He is able to move those chains, and he's one of my favorite, man. I really, really like him. But the funny thing is that Florida State is undefeated, and it's looking good. Oh, wow. Wow. This is crazy. 5-star recruit T.A. Cunningham's Atlanta family was evicted. His dad sent him to SoCal and got him an agent in hopes of a big NIL deal. The money never came. The coach T.A. lived with was arrested. Now he is homeless, ineligible, and suing. Oh, this is going to be an interesting story. I got to open that up. That's just breaking news right there. That's wild. Yeah. Anyways, though, Florida State victorious. Everybody else not. Now, going into the next team, can somebody explain to me what in the Denny Thompson is going on at the University of Florida? I made this tweet because I was sitting there and so again, inconsistencies in what people say. So in my group chat with the Mandarin coaches, we have a good DC. He always talks about how Florida State is going, the whole staff is going to get fired. They won't win 6 games because he watched the practice and the practice wasn't good. Now, to his defense, the practice was shitty. But what he's comparing it to is Georgia. And I'm like, he's like, Georgia's DC would do this. Georgia's DC. I said, Georgia's DC has 25 stars on that bitch. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to do. Like, it's going to work, bro. But this is what Florida State doesn't have. They have schemes. And I'm like, they play Malik Cunningham. Spread concepts are difficult, especially when you have a quarterback that runs a fucking 4-4. Now, this man fixed his mouth to say, it's just Louisville. It's just LSU. Fixed his mouth to say, man, going up against South Florida's scheme is a nightmare to defensive coordinators. I said, what? There's not a draftable guy on South Florida's offense. Why the fuck would that be more scary to you than going up against Malik Cunningham, a Heisman potential candidate? Maybe he knew something better than I did because Florida's defensive coordinator was in a fucking Freddy Krueger movie because that bitch was on Nightmare on Elm Street. South Florida was getting there, and South Florida came out smoking. They had a lead. They were doing some stuff, and I'm like, damn, South Florida's out here beating up them fucking guts. And somebody was like, hey, chill out, please. Graphic, vulgar. I said, fuck you. Don't follow me. But they threw it. Florida broke a long run. And I made this statement. And I stopped watching the game and started enjoying the birthday party that I was at, which I say that tongue-in-cheek. I do love those kids, but there was a lot of kids and they were loud. I said, well, thanks for showing up, USF. Don't forget to tip your bartenders and your waitresses. And boy, that was at 8:53. Good night. Did that game take a turn very fast. South Florida was beating the University of Florida for quite some time. Them guys was getting after it. And the only reason the top 25 ranked University of Florida Gators won was because of the incompetence of a coach at South Florida and a kicker missing a kick because the moment was too big, pissed down his leg. For whatever reason, South Florida's quarterback threw 2 interceptions. Like, he doesn't throw, he's not a thrower of the football. But they kept putting him in positions to throw the football. Anthony Richardson threw an interception inside of his own red zone. And the guy returned it. And South Florida had the momentum. But what did they do? They go back and give them another opportunity by throwing the ball. He missed a couple big throws. Like that first down throw, like the guy was wide open on the wheel route, overthrew him, and he couldn't get it. That shit happens. But bigger than that, those games happen, dude. I'm not here to pick on guys or to make a bigger deal of things than what they need to be made. But here are some stats that were brought up, not by me, James Coleman, but by guys who follow the University of Florida. And the first one is by Barrett Sally. I think that's how you say his name. And he brings up something that, I just could not believe. I cannot believe, based upon what I've seen, the workouts, the Twitter banter, 10-10 Excel exalting this guy. Anthony Richardson has thrown 0 touchdown passes in the first 3 games. He's thrown 4 interceptions.
I swear I saw. Oh no, he ran that.
0 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. I said, that's interesting. But it gets worse. Anthony Richardson has more tackles, 2, than touchdown passes this season. That's by Nick De La Torre. These are not guys who hate the Gators. These are Gator beat writers. Ant's interceptions and his footwork were so egregious that, I had to go out and defend my guy. My guy at T Black, who's actually a funny Twitter follower. He's actually a really logical Florida fan. He's like, don't let Tenny Thompson on Florida's campus again. And I said, hey, man, chill out. Denny ain't called them stupid ass fucking plays. Like, it's funny because, like, to defend my guy, right? It's called a 20-hour rule. So you get 20 hours to practice with your team. And then that doesn't include meetings. That doesn't include extra stuff that you're supposed to do with the players. Denny coming on campus maybe once a week for 2 to 3 hours isn't going to change anything. At the end of the day, that's his fucking quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator's job to put the kid in the best position to be able to win games. And Denny has this great stuff. If a quarterback throws over 3 interceptions in a game, which Anthony didn't, it's no longer the quarterback's fault. He said it's more than 2 interceptions in a game. It's no longer the quarterback's fault. It's the coach's fault for continuing to let him throw the ball. So what Anthony does have, though, this season, he has touchdowns. He just doesn't have any passing touchdowns. He's not very accurate at all. He was 10 for 18 for 112 yards passing, 55.6% completion rate. UK, he was 14 for 35 for 143 yards, 40% completion rate. Both games, he threw 2 interceptions. Utah, who you think he would have had a worse game, but again, as I tell people, they've won. Utah lost the game. I believe South Florida lost the game as well. Utah, he was 17 for 24, 168 yards. Much better completion rate, but I think they respected his legs more. So no touchdowns. Now, what he's had is what Utah wasn't able to do was stop him in the run game. He had 11 attempts for 106 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's ironic because everybody talks about Jordan Travis and how Jordan Travis is a running back or a wide receiver that throws the ball. But this is literally what all you Gator fans have described and what you think Jordan Travis is, your guy is. And he's got all the talent in the world. But something isn't connecting up here. And so, I can't even, really, get into it. And what's ironic is that people bash Denny for him, but guess who Jordan Travis worked with this summer? Dennis. Denny went into them meeting rooms when Florida State was here, practicing in Jacksonville. Got a chance to help break down some film. So what you got to ask yourself, is it Uchi Wally Wally or is it one Mike? And what that means is it what is it? You want it to be one way, but it's not one way.
Everyone was hyped for AR when he went viral that first week, you know.
And that's the problem is we anoint people and we tear them down entirely too fast. He has the potential to be very, very good, and he still has the potential to be very, very good. But what you got to do is you got to start looking at things for what they are and stop this shit. Stop this fucking madness. Let the kid play a few games before you start saying that, before you start buying tickets to Atlanta. Because here's the reality. And this is an issue with Anthony. Next time I see him, I'll talk to him about this. Is if you read your press clippings and you read social media and you live and die by it, you're going to get your ass flamboyant. If you play like you've been playing, the University of Georgia is going to eviscerate your program. See, this is what I tell people about Florida State. We ain't got them problems. The biggest dog on our schedule looks very beatable, and that's Clemson. I'm not saying we will beat them. I'm just saying that's the toughest game. NC State's going to be good. Clemson's going to be a tough game. We're not there yet. I have no delusions of grandeur. Never have, never will. Florida fans are the only ones who have these delusions. And keep pushing this fucking stupid-ass narrative. Stop it. William Napier is not it yet. Give him time. Enjoy your wins. If you've heard me on any FSU thing, what I say is this. Each game from now on is a one-game season. I'm not looking at the playoffs. I'm not even looking at ACC. I'm enjoying the game. And if you go back, you could. It's all canonized. When I watched the LSU game, when I went to LSU, I said, there's one thing. I believe Florida State will win. But there's one thing that I'm truly looking for. I'm looking to be entertained. Period. Not saying Jordan Travis won the Heisman. Not saying any of this other shit. I'm not even saying Johnny Wilson is the second coming of Kelvin Benjamin like some people are. He had a great game against Louisville, and I hope he does it again next year. It's can you be consistent? Can you string it together? Because if you can, then you have something to brag about. Exactly. One, the Big Ten is not a weak conference, though. The question is, that's why you want FSU to remain in go to the Big Ten so they can weak conference. The SEC is the weakest conference out of the two. There ain't a team that you should fear in any of these conferences outside of Georgia. I mean that. I don't know if anybody watched, because the craziest thing I always tell people, I watch all games. Bryce Young looked bad in a blowout, which is hard to do. But I know this. You don't want to see. I don't want to see. Do you think I'd rather see Alabama than Ohio State right now? Just right now. I sure as hell rather play anybody in the SEC than Michigan right now. Indiana's on par with most of the sorry-ass teams. Purdue sucks. They lost. It's a lot of other teams, but the thing, it's 1 to 2 teams in every conference, and everybody else is mid. If you don't believe that, you're drinking the Kool-Aid of what you've been taught, and you don't watch any other games outside of what you watch. That's my opinion on it. But I watch Big Ten ball. And the motherfuckers got something. Oh, Penn State. Penn State whooping 90% of the fucking conference's ass. That's 3 teams right now. There's only two teams that I don't believe that Penn State can beat in the SEC. And that is Georgia and Alabama. They mud stomp everybody else. And that's the problem with the SEC is that everybody looks at the leaders. And that's as opposed to standing on your own. I personally don't give a fuck if anybody else in the ACC wins another game. I only care about Florida State. But the reality is none of that hides the fact that Anthony Richardson is not looking like what people advertise. And I hope this young man gets it together for multiple different reasons. Mainly because it'll get us more views on our YouTube that we have for him. And he's a good kid. Now, what I want to show is this, college football's the most boring game over Saturday happened. And click this. The problem with Rivals, it's the first link after that, Miles. The problem with Rivals is y'all take everything and make this into a troll battle without understanding the game. And that's not your fault. The fault of the problem with the game today is that a bunch of people who control the narrative in the media are guys who have never – most boring college football game this season, that first link – have never ever done any drill and don't understand things. And all you're trying to do is troll and make fun of stuff. So the video that we're about to show is a video that's been happening since Norvell got there and since David Johnson, a.k.a. Coach Yak, got there. It's a drill. And if you've ever noticed something that Florida State doesn't really do, is Florida State doesn't muff punts. Florida State is catching and fielding punts. And what Coach Yak is doing in this video is he has a water gun. And he is shooting a water gun in the face of the returner as they're trying to catch the ball. He also uses tennis balls. If you take yourself out of they out there having super soakers, they're doing this. I'm gonna look like a jackass, so I'm gonna troll the rival. If you actually take yourself out of it and realize that when you're punt return and kickoff return, you have to try to catch the ball in all kind of elements. So if it's raining, you still have to catch this ball with people coming at you that have intentions of hitting you. In a lot of noise and a lot of distractions. So all this drill is using something that's safe to help get you practice reps of being distracted. So you know who could have used this drill? University of fucking Miami. Maybe Tyreek Stevenson, who Georgia gave you willingly. Wouldn't have muffed 2 fucking punts. And you wouldn't have lost. Maybe if you focused more on special teams, you wouldn't be in a situation where you lost the game. You traveled literally thousands of miles to score 9 points. You made the SEC look better than what they are. Again, another situation of a fan base overvaluing and hyping a very talented player without letting them have the opportunity to earn something. Now, here's what's wild. I have never seen a situation like this. My bad, he muffed 1 punt. A team win time of possession. A team win total yards by 120 yards. They have more passing yards. They have more rushing yards. They have more first downs. And lose a game in a manner in which they never had control of it. That is baffling. Miami had the ball 32 minutes and 31 seconds, as opposed to Texas A&M having the ball for 23 minutes and 28 seconds. They scored 300. They had 375 yards of total offense. Texas A&M had 255 yards. Miami had 200 passing yards. Texas A&M had 140. Miami had 175 rushing yards. Texas A&M had 115. Miami had 26 first downs. Texas A&M had 14. Even penalties were basically even. Miami had 6 penalties. Texas A&M had 5. The biggest difference was the 1 turnover, the muff punt. Maybe you should go get a fucking super soaker and start splashing that into people's faces. Maybe that will help you. Miami did something that is damn near impossible. That is so hard that the last time it was done was the last time you were relevant. Miami is the first team since at least 2000 to record 27 first downs and score 0 touchdowns. You're inept. You did not see the end zone. I can't say it. Oh, it's just like, I don't understand it. Like, you have, all I heard was Tyler Van Dyke's going to throw that ball, TVD, Boys to Men, ABC, TVD, or some shit like that. You were throwing the ball. We're going to fling this thing around the yard without taking into consideration who you hired. Oregon fans were laughing at you this entire fucking game. We all know who Mario Cristobal is. It's only Miami fans don't understand who they hired. When you hired Manny, you tried to make Manny Diaz into this badass. We all knew him as Little Manny, the videographer at Florida State. Y'all forget he had a degree from fucking Florida State. We know who Little Manny is. We know who Mario is. Mario was in that Miami area, remember? He was the FIU coach that got fired because it was ass. Then he went to Alabama And he got to learn under Nick Saban before he figured out the forward pass. So he's learned from Nick Saban where defense, ground game helps you win championships. But then you got to remember what tree he comes from. He's also a part of the William Jerome Taggart tree. Because that's who he went to Oregon with. That's who got him Justin Herbert. Who he's the only person who's ever made Justin Herbert look extremely average. This man had Justin Herbert, Kayvon Thibodeau. I forgot the offensive lineman's name. Who's first round draft pick, offensive lineman, first round draft pick, numerous draft picks on the offensive line, numerous draft picks on the defensive line, and lost to Utah twice. But with Uncle Phil Knight as his own guy, who you guys boost up John Ruiz like Phil Knight can't give $1 billion a year to Oregon and still not lose any sleep. Why? Why not just look at it and just let the man have the success that he wants to have, man? Oh, Penei Sewell. Thank you. That's right. And then you hired a guy who got assistant coach of the year. But have you ever? It's like this. Big Sean has this saying in the song. Anytime you get a bad bitch, don't forget to read the fine print. It's the saying that a lot of men have said, behind every fine woman, there's a man who's tired of her shit. That is kind of the epitome of what your new offensive coordinator is. He won the assistant coach of the year at Michigan. And Michigan didn't renew his deal. You didn't find that odd? You didn't outbid Michigan. Michigan just said, fuck it. We don't want him. Take him. And now look at Michigan's offense. They flourishing. They throwing that ball around the yard. That's because your offensive coordinator is a conservative guy is a run-first offensive coordinator. There's nothing wrong with that. But the mindset that you have, like you're about to throw the ball 50 times with TBD, when you have a run-first-minded head coach and a run-first-minded OC, baffles me. And this is what scares me because you people are raising children. Like, the teacher gives your kids homework and you have to go over this with them, but you lack logic and common sense. How does run first head coach, run first OC equal pass heavy offense? It's like expecting me to go out and play wide receiver or fullback and go catch for 1,000 yards just because you're a fan. It doesn't work. I'm not built like that. I can't be who I'm not. Now, with that being said, they ran the ball extremely well. The problem was when they threw the ball, TBD was highly inaccurate. Overthrowing wide receivers dropping the ball. You don't have a guy, and when people try to tell you that, you go to troll mode as opposed to being like, damn, you're right. We don't have a guy that can catch the ball. Now, the beautiful thing in that is that we had a kid, Hakeem Williams, go there and see all that fucking trash. And you know who we're trying to battle him for? Miami and Texas A&M. So go ahead and do this, Hakeem, on Friday. Can't wait to see you, baby. We done beat that ass in LSU as guys that we were competing against, and now we got rivals out here talking that shit. When it came, Miles, let me tell you what these motherfuckers told us all year. Jordan Travis can't throw. Jordan Travis sucks. Jordan Travis can't do this. We got the best. Matter of fact, one of my friends said Miami got the best quarterback, best running back, best tight end, best wide receiver, best O-line, best this. They got better ingredients, better bitches. They dress better than you, best boosters, even though your booster's a fake billionaire. They talk all this shiggity. It's more stuff that I'm even leaving out because Miami gonna get this. You're gonna get this work. You got a great quarterback, right? Miami completed just 4 passes of 5 yards or more. Do you know how short 5 yards is? It's 15 feet. It's basically from here to the deer that's sitting in front of me. You completed 4 15-footers. There's people who can putt better than that. Oh, wait a minute. There's more, though. There's more stats. This is a beautiful thing of stats. Can you play what this arrogant sumbitch said? Because, again, he says what everybody says about you guys. You don't have a home crowd. You don't have a stadium. It sucks. And let's listen to what TVD has to say about you Miami fans. You people who are such a proud and strong fan base. You are proud people, right? I want to hear them because this is my first time hearing this shit too. This I'm get my coffee right here and sip on this shit because TVD roasted you and himself at the same time. It's crazy because while you're playing, it's crazy that you have this 50-yard indoor practice facility. It feels like y'all just went to Texas A&M so that you could, like Florida State came to Jacksonville, right? They have a practice just to get away. It feels like you went to Texas A&M just so you guys can have a practice, a full special teams practice on a full field. Is that what happened? Because I don't know. I'm not sure. Because it doesn't make, none of this other stuff makes sense. But let's see what TVD has to say about the differences. Where would you know what, Tyler? Where would you rather play? You like to play at home? You like to be in Miami, in paradise? Or would you rather go to Podunk College Station where Homewood Suites is the 5-star hotel?
You like home games better or away games?
I like away games better.
Same.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Most quarterbacks say that, yeah.
We don't really have much of a college atmosphere because we play at Hard Rock, so we're about 45 minutes away from campus. So a lot of students don't go up and watch the game unless it's like a big game. But that's why I like going into away stadiums and seeing that college atmosphere and playing there and making the.
You like home games better?
So you
or
like
games?
going to other places so that you can feel what it's really like to have a college atmosphere. Is that what he just said?
That's sad. I feel bad for him.
Like, what are you recruiting? Because here's the wild part, right? Ruiz is backtracking on the NIL deals. Ruiz wouldn't hire not one of you motherfuckers for his company. Now, this is what we're gonna get for real, again. I love you guys. This is tough love. You need to hear it. Like, I wish we had the little Ricky Bobby say, nah, they need to hear it. Always talking shit. Always talking shit. Got one of the best medical schools, one of the best educations that money can buy. Yet none of your players get hired by any of the boosters. The only guys who get something are your top guys who may get to do something for the university and athletic department. But we got this bread. We got this. No, you don't. What you have is a facade. Get it through your brain. You have a lion. You got a lion-ass Cuban as your pass head coach. You got a lion-ass Cuban as your coach right now, and you got a lion-ass Cuban as the face of your boosters. That is making you believe that you could just uproot an entire municipality of city planning to build a stadium because he wants to. Do you realize that $1 billion is a lot to you, me, and the average Joe, but that ain't shit in Miami? You can't go into Coral Gables with just being a fucking billionaire. Uncle Phil can. But not some guy with a company that you don't even know what the fuck he does. Perfect example. I'm going to show you about city planning in municipalities. Atlantic Coast High School, the school that my high school currently just whooped, their coach, Kevin Sullivan, Hall of Famer back in the day, sat me down and said, James, I'm going to get you to come over here and coach for me at Atlantic Coast. He said, right now, we're going to build this was over 10 years ago. We're going to build a middle school right here on this big plot of land. And there's going to be a community that's going to be built behind it. Literally, I live on the other side of where these trees were. This man told me 10 years ago what the layout and the plan was going to be. And I couldn't see it. You know what's happening now? It's this community called E-Town. I wanted to buy a house 3 years ago in E-Town. It was $650,000. Now it's $1.2 million. That same $650,000 house. It's one of the fastest growing communities in the city of Jacksonville. See, they don't just build fucking schools to build a school. They build a school and then they build a fucking community around it. You can't just say, I want a football stadium for my 5,000 student campus. No, bitch, that's not how this shit works. Only idiots believe that shit. Just like only idiots will anoint somebody who didn't do shit, hadn't done shit. Let somebody be great before you anoint them, is what we're saying. And instead of pounding your chest, allow that shit to happen, man.
The renderings are great, though. They had great renderings.
The renderings are dope, though. The renderings are dope.
If it would, I mean, as a picture, it's a nice picture. That one.
Had fish in there. You could like go fishing. You can bring your yacht.
Such a dope story.
90% of y'all motherfucking Miami fans ain't even got a fucking yacht. You barely pay the rent for the Hard Rock. How the fuck you gonna build a stadium? And it's not even so much to pick on you. It's literally like outside of like the tone. It's literally just the logistics of it, bro. Like so Florida can build an indoor practice facility and a football only facility because Florida has damn near 60,000 students undergrad. Florida State, I believe, has like 40, close to 50,000 undergrad, right? So even if the money doesn't work out for athletics, right, you have the tuition base. It's just impossible to have that when you don't have the students. And it's not picking on you. It's picking on your arrogance and your ignorance. And that you could be, again, it's the fact that so many people can be fooled by bravado. But the thing about people who've been in fights, bravado does absolutely nothing for you when the fight actually has to come. Because eventually you got to fight this. You got to fight. Here's the crazy thing right here. Out of all that talk, right, all the pomp and circumstance, let's pull up the best quarterbacks in the state per just overall QBR rating. I heard Anthony Richardson Heisman Trophy. The Dyke is supposed to be a first-round pick. Tyler Van Dyke. Just calling him the Dyke, like, because he's the guy. Like, just give or is Van his middle name, or is Van Dyke one last name? Because I don't want to make the wrong group mad.
That's one of the worst football names.
Look,
you said Greedy before. That was a great football name.
Yeah.
The Dyke, I'm not sure.
Here are the top 8 quarterbacks in the state of Florida, and we had to use 8 so that we can bring Anthony Richardson in there. Number 1 is Jordan Travis, 84.8. Tate Rodemaker, 77.5. The 3-name Pilgrim, John Reese Plumlee, 69.6. The Dyke, 57.3. Former Miami Hurricane, N'Kosi Perry, the guy with the ugly teeth, 49.3. Another UCF guy, Mickey Keene, 43.0. Jerry Bohannon, the guy who choked away the game against Florida, is 40.2. And Anthony Richardson is 35.9. QBR. So who has the best quarterback room in the state after the games have been played? Just statistically speaking right now. I'm just like, this isn't me. This, again, don't shoot the messenger. Shoot the people who've been playing and the statistics. It's just numbers. It's not my fault. To be honest with you right now, it is just what's in a wild football season. Because in all of this, Bryce Young, defending Heisman Trophy winner, is, since the SEC championship, is playing exponentially worse than Stetson Bennett, who's literally putting up a case for the Heisman Trophy when everybody thought he was ass. So it's just a weird world. But the craziest thing in all of this is that people have watched these games, right? And Florida State is still not ranked, which I'm completely okay with because it doesn't matter in week 3. Keep winning games, and if you know what happens at the end of the season when you win a lot of games, you'll be ranked exactly where you need to be at. There is a ton of 8 o'clock stuff, but I'm going to get into this. I'm going to touch on this real quick, not as long as I want to, because, again, I don't like ending shows on two serious matters. But this is a serious matter, and it's serious and it stinks because so many things look really, really bad, and it's out of so many people's control. And this 8 o'clock brought to you by Green Acre Sporting Goods. Green Acre Sporting Goods is the go-to website for all things outdoors. Get your AR-15s that actually shoot accurately. Get your get your 9mm, get your Glocks, get all of these different kind of weapons that you want over there. They got them competitively priced, and they have something that a lot of other gun stores don't have. bullets. Can't shoot without bullets. Doesn't make any sense. But they got those things. They got coolers. They got safes. They got fishing equipment. They got knives. They got bows and arrows. They got crossbows. Z and those guys will take care of you. They got everything that you could possibly need for the great outdoors. They got targets. They got a ton of other stuff. If they don't have it and you need it, they will order it. It is bow hunting season. It's about to be black powder season. And because that stuff is really, really hard to get, you need to start trying to order it early. So make sure you get all those different things from Green Acre Sporting Goods. greenacresporting.com is the website. Or like most of you guys do, hit me up and I'll hit up Z. Best customer service you can get. Nobody else does that for you. You ask me, I'll get it. I'll get the question for you and we'll get it going. I got to go shoot some shit next month, Miles. We got to make that happen. So this year represents 50 years of Title IX. Title IX is a landmark decision that basically says you have to have equality for women's sports. Basically, what it means is that you have to have this, from what I've been told, you have to have the same amount of, the same percentage of representation in scholarships for your female athletes as the school. So if your school is 60% female, then 60% of your scholarships have to go to females. 40% have to go to males. And that's tough when you have things. And women's sports are fighting for their right in place. Matter of fact, shout out to I think it's the Las Vegas Aces for winning their the WNBA championship. A lot of people didn't know. A lot of critique, a lot of back and forth. Don't know why they decided to go up against the NFL. Maybe 5 people watched it, but congratulations. Championships are hard to get. And women's sports are always fighting this. But if you can play the video, Miles, if you look at it, it's the first one under 8 o'clock. And this is why I say it looks really, really bad. And it kind of is. But every coach that I know, from Pop Warner all the way to the pros, you got to get to the video so we can see it, hates other things. They hate homecoming. They hate senior night. They hate when they're retiring jerseys, because it takes a lot of attention away from the game, and they're Zoom focused in on playing the game. So go ahead and play the video, and then I'm just going to play the video without any context so that you can see it.
Students in the end zone. Bell is in the slot nearest to the line of scrimmage. Shane Beamer is upset because now you've given Georgia a long time to see your formation as they're trying to get these kids off the field. Georgia's kind of got a bead right now on what the formation looks like. And so we have to steal possessions. You have to have an edge on special teams. They just did with a fake punt. Shane Beamer really irate. I mean, this is South Carolina's fault. This is their home game. And these folks were on the field for some sort of ceremony between quarters. They don't seem to be in any big hurry to get off the field. The other thing that could happen here.
All right. So what's happening, and this is what Jalissa Harris, all female student athletes were asked to come to the game to recognize 50 years of Title IX. We were on the field for maybe 15 seconds, then screamed at to get off. If you want to honor female student athletes, then do that, not this. So I 100% understand where the young lady is coming from. Mark Ryan put, "This is minor league, South Carolina. Embarrassing." And Beamer knows it. A literal what the fuck moment. Be better. Okay. And I only know this because I've got a chance to deal with sports in the back end. So it is literally a nationally televised game. Every moment of the game has to be scripted, from the national anthem to other stuff. National live TV isn't like radio. So like in radio, if we go long one segment, we can go short another one. You could kind of do that, but you have to equate for playtime. And if you go over, it messes up your advertising dollars, and you're held accountable for that. You keep doing that, you'll be fired. Who's at fault for this is South Carolina, for trying to squeeze too much shit and not allotting enough time for those young ladies to be properly honored for their sacrifice, for them being able to do some different things. And again, for other people's daughters to want to be able to follow in their footsteps. Beamer has no control over that. Now, what could happen and what has happened is when the school goes over, you know who gets punished? The home team. They could throw a flag for delay a game on him. They do it with kickoffs. They do it for other stuff. Like, that's why it's such a tight, or you could be fined. The other side of it is Beamer, I think, was trying to fake a punt or trying to do something. So now you're out there. You're ready for the next play. And now they get a chance to see. It's basically like calling a free timeout. So it's not necessarily that Shane Beamer is a dick, which he probably is. It's that he's like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Why aren't we playing football? We are here for a football game. Now, it is the largest, more than likely the largest amount of people that will come to a sporting event on campus because of them. And that's why you probably want to honor the female athletes. But this same shit would happen at a female basketball game if it went over. That's why when you see like the Dr. Pepper things, like, you ever notice how fast those people move? Like, they don't really get it. Like, especially if I'm kicking for $1 million, you would think I get to take as much time as I want to, right? Nah. You better kick that. You better kick that shit in the allotted amount of time that they tell you to, or you ain't gonna kick that shit. That's just kind of the way it goes, man. It's part of planning events. Like, it's a lot of things that are out of your control. I've been a captain at Florida State games. They tell you, they even tell you better walk fast. Like, not a captain like as a player, but as an honorary captain for Wake Forest a few years ago. And you have to walk fast on that fucking field. When you're walking out, that's why a lot of this stuff is typically done at halftime. You know why? Because you got like 18 minutes. And the people who can speed things up and have a little bit more control of things like the band and other stuff. And you kind of allot for these things. And that's why. I mean, it's unfortunate. It looks really, really bad. But I mean, it's really not. Shane Beamer is probably an asshole for a lot of other different things. Now, if you go to the next one, this is right here. I'm so tired of cultural appropriation is cool when it works. Like, Travis Kelce is dope. Travis Kelce is invited to the barbecue. He's dated a black woman long enough. He's got the low haircut. He knows how to do this stuff. But I'm also kind of hating on this guy because he's on my fantasy team and I didn't play him. The tight end for the Miami Dolphins. I don't even know how to say his last name. Gesicki. And I'm sorry. This is the worst attempt at the gritty that I've ever seen in my life. As my man puts, I want to make sure he gets his props. It's Curry Piston. He's a bro hit the skedaddle. And that's basically what it is. And it's just an awful, awful representation of whiteness. White people are better than this. This does not speak for all white kids. This does not speak for my white brethren at the LSU tailgate that I met, my little bros. I know they can all gritty better than this. But again, that just looks really, really bad. Like, again, like in the theme of Shane Beamer, that just looks really, really bad. I don't even want to talk about these damn Browns fans. Like, Browns fans are dicks, man. Like, anybody who I'm all for people believing in Deshaun Watson, but y'all don't have to keep doing this. Now, in the spirit of hate, everybody talks tough on Twitter. Everybody talks tough in sports. And, you know, they got the face mask on. What can you really do to somebody, right? Mike Evans, I'm proud to have you I'm proud to own you. As an NFL fantasy football owner, I'm proud to own you. Because Mike Evans is the epitome of on-site. Mike Evans hates is it Marcus Lattimore or Marshawn Lattimore?
I forget his first name, but yeah, it's Lattimore though.
He absolutely hates this man. Yeah, Marshawn. If you've never watched Family Guy, there's this ongoing skit that goes on and on with Peter Griffin and this chicken. Have no idea where it started. But basically, every time Pete and the chicken see each other, it's on site. And I didn't realize it, but my guy literally just smashed Mike Evans. I mean, Mike Evans literally smashed Lattimore. And Lattimore is talking trash to Tom Brady. Leonard Fournette kind of comes over and pushes him to the side. He mushes Leonard Fournette and still talks to Brady. And that's all Mike Evans needed to see. Mike Evans said, I'm about to kill you. I'm about to whoop your ass. And he literally mushed the hell out of him. It was great. It was awesome. And You know what his statement was? Like, you got no, that's not it. That's an ugly injury. It's the one after that.
Yeah, no. There we go.
But that's actually play this first. This is the first one because I've had this belief because unfortunately this man passed up in February. But I talk about my uncles a lot, my great uncles, and Bruce Arians. You can't make me believe that Bruce Arians doesn't have a little bit of black in him. Bruce Arians dresses like my late great uncle Harry. He's got the Kangos. They're literally the same complexion. Like my Uncle Harry is that color red. It is just the way he just the Crown Royal drinking. He has all of the essence of an old ass black uncle. And I looked at his wife. His wife is white. I was curious if she was white or black. But she dresses like that. That you ever seen the memes where they say you could tell she has a black stepdaddy? I mean, a black baby daddy or something like that. The haircut, she got that low haircut. But Bruce Arians basically said, hey, man, what the fuck going on, man? Somebody go get this guy out of the way. That's what he's basically telling them. And he's sick Mike Evans after. If Mike Evans went over there and mushed him, and then Mike Evans did this shit a couple seasons ago when he touched Jameis, and it's just like he comes out of nowhere. Every time Mike Evans comes out of nowhere and and it's on site. I love it. I love a good on site motherfucker. And we got it right. And then when Mike Evans did his interview, he just said, man, sometimes it be like that.
I love that.
He's like, that's part of the game. And, you know, he did something to my teammate and I did something to him. And he said, and then what he said was, and what the wildest part of it is, he said, do you think, because this is 2017, I think, the last time him and Marshall. And he admitted that was a cheap shot, but he protected his quarterback.
And lays out Lattimore, and then we got
he admitted that one. He said this one wasn't even. He said this one wasn't even like that one.
Winston is injured on the sideline. Winston points in the back of Marcus Lattimore's.
And I don't even know what Jameis was doing.
Lattimore pushes every day. Mike Evans comes flying out of the top row.
I don't think the elevator
and lays out Lattimore, and then we got
I love him
on the sideline of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, and that's how we're gonna end it. We could just again. I don't want to hear about your beefs.
Winston is injured
unless it's like Mike Evans.
In the back of Marcus Lattimore's neck.
If you ain't doing what Mike Evans do, if it ain't on site every time, then all you are is talk. And that's what 90% of us are. And what we should all do is just be better people.
They tried to separate it into two groups here.
I don't really know.
Still sorting it out. Winston is
what
injured on the
else?
sideline.
What else to say about that? But on that note, you know,
there's
a lot that went on. Could have done more. I wish I could have fleshed some more things out. This might be why I need to have an NFL wrap-up show and a college weekend wrap-up show, and then just come back here and do this because this year has been the gift that keeps on giving. I think COVID messed us up, and then everybody needed a year to get adjusted to COVID, and then boom. Now this year's just been so glorious. Florida fans is going to be okay. Anthony Richardson is going to be good. Miami fans, TVD is good. It's just not as good as you think he is right now. That's why it's a long season. Continue to get good. Florida State fans, be confident. Our storm is coming. We got a fucking infirmary right now. I have no idea who else is left. Jordan Travis is hurt. All of our linemen are hurt. Jared Verse is hurt. Everybody else is hurt. Somebody got hurt going to the cafe. But you know what's good? The Jags are good. But the coolest thing is anytime you have a victory, it's always better than having a loss. And somebody posted that y'all barely won. And I said, you know what? I'd rather somebody tell me I barely won than to say I barely lost. Appreciate y'all for chopping it up with us, man. Again, make sure you go check out the tailgate for Boston College. We're going to be posting that, trying to promote it pretty heavily. Make sure you check out the SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. This on YouTube. Share it. Tell a friend. Trying to grow this thing. Hopefully, we'll have 2,000 followers by the end of the year. That'd be great. We'll get somebody to get some Christmas money or Christmas re-up money by then. Other than that, man, appreciate you guys for chopping it up with me. We'll see you guys later.
And lays out Lattimore, and then we got a fight on the sideline of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They tried to separate it into two groups here, but they're still sorting it out. Winston is injured on the sideline.